Doing the Halloween countdown, and look at this, 8:00 on the dot, live. My microphone's
Do I have
working.
audio? Do I have audio?
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
That's the.
We need the. You know what's funny is we need the community in the chat to tell us, hey, the audio is working great. Thumbs up. Move on with the show.
Does Glenn have it working or not? Is the big question.
So you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Please. Yeah, sound is good. All right, yay.
So this is good. We started on time. Sound
Audio's
is working. We have people in the chat.
All we need is your internet to go for a dump, and we're back to old times.
That's it.
I don't want to jinx it, but is Cole gone, or is he gone on a hot date or something that he's not using?
If the hot date's a computer up in his room, that's where he is.
That's as hot date as it gets, I guess. Cool.
That's it. So you know,
how was your week, sir?
I gotta say, you know, this is always the highlight of the week is you guys, and you know, I have Wired Up Retro's here, and I'm gonna show this real quick. So I got to do this. I got to do a video of this in next week. So I have this on loan. This is not mine.
That's from Wired Up Retro.
Wired Up Retro. He's in the chat right here. So this is a SNK controller modified to work on the Vectrex. So I got to get a video of this quick and get this back.
But there's a button missing. There's a button missing. Right there, the top one.
There is. Sorry about that. But I got to say, Steven, this controller just feels amazing anyway. I like this controller.
It's a Neo Geo. I don't know if it's from the AES or what. No,
I think it's the AES. I think it's the AES. In any case, it feels really good. So I got to get this back to him. Otherwise, he's going to think I'm stealing it, and I'm not. So
as I was saying, how was your week? Did you pull your hair out? No hair to pull, but
there's no really hair to pull. It was a week. It was definitely a week, but you know what? It's okay. I'm here with all my friends here on Kickin'it Old Skool. I got you. I got everyone in the chat, and
there's a lot of people in the chat.
We do. We got a lot of people here. You know, we have. Right, go through the read. Well, get a sip here. Who we got?
I'm gonna have to scroll all the way up. There's all kinds of people in here. We've got BA. Then we've got Tony from Electric Adventures, which incidentally he's just confirmed in chat that he's going to come on the show next week. and have a nice conversation with us about everything retro. So thank you, Tony, for confirming that. Jason, let's see, Pliskin's Runs, Hobby Hands. Who else we got? 19K Fox, the World Traveler.
He's here?
It's he.
Was he in the
Yeah,
airplane
yeah.
like 5 minutes ago?
He's in the airplane all the time. 720 Eric, Wired Up Retro, obviously. Jennifer is here. Welcome, Jennifer. Adam Kalb, sure. Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Who else we got there? Goofyfoot, Carl O, P Dubs. We don't like no P Dubs here. No, there's no P
Oh,
Dubs.
stop.
But welcome, P Dubs. And I don't know P Dubs. I've never met him. Seems like a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. He's a very nice guy. He's the
And
mayor.
JLS
He's the mayor of the gaming
Gaming.
community.
You're the godfather. He's the mayor. What else you guys got? And then we got Scott Dworkin. Cool.
Excellent.
Welcome, guys. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but if I did, I do apologize. But like I said, next week, Tony from Electric Adventures is going to join us and talk everything retro. So that's good. That's awesome. And then we're doing our countdown for Halloween.
Yeah, we
here.
get the Halloween countdown. So, our Halloween special will obviously be right before Halloween, the Friday before Halloween. We'll get that going. But I have a lot of stuff going on this weekend. And if you're looking in the lower corner here, there's a little chip here.
That is cool.
I'm going to do a review of this thing. This really blew me away. So I got this off Amazon. I'm going to do a review of this probably this weekend. And, I'm going to be doing a lot of electronic repairs. And
I gotta say, do explain what that is, because maybe there's some folks that don't solder,
right?
And
so
they're looking at it going, "Oh, he got himself a microscope to do kinky things."
Well, that too. But the microscope I had before is probably 15 years old. It didn't work very well. But now look at this. This is the Viper. This is on its least magnification. Now I can go all the way down into this bad boy. I'm going to zoom all the way in, and this has a 4.3-inch screen on it, plus video out. And I'm going to have to focus as I go. It's got an SD card. Look how close we can get. I'm still going. And this is a $40 microscope. Let me pull this up a little bit. Look at this. Look at that. That is pretty freaking
like
amazing.
You were telling me before, you can actually see the raised ink, or
Yeah.
the not the ink, but the silk screen.
Yeah, that is it blows my mind for $40. So I'm really happy with this.
I'm probably gonna get one. I'm gonna try to get one anyways. We'll see how the finances are, but
come back. But for $40, I mean, I could not. Can't beat that.
And you said you can connect that to an external television.
That's you're seeing it right now. I have a 4.3-inch screen in front of me, and it has
is it widescreen, or is it just square 4x3?
It's widescreen. It's widescreen. But
it'll do 16:9.
Yeah, it's got all different settings in here. Wait for the review, would you?
Okay, sure, sure.
So
it looks really damn good.
So I think, again, I'm really impressed for $40. I don't think you can really beat that, to be quite honest. So I have that and a couple other announcements we'll get out of the way here before we get started on the main show, and we'll go into the chat again. So one of the things I want to let people know is that the II arcade control panel for the Legacy unit or the Classic unit and the Gold have been shipped. So they are on the way to the USA. They were shipped on October 15th. So it's going to take a week or so for them to come over. So I'm expecting early November. We'll start shipping them out, and people will probably get them in the hands maybe the second week of November, my guess. So if you had pre-ordered, they'll be coming out. And again, the people who didn't get a chance to pre-order, once all those pre-orders have shipped, we'll go through what's left, and we'll offer them up for sale. Now, although we don't plan on making more, we probably will at some point. So I have other plans for the control panel, which we'll go out and talk about a little bit later. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about.
Next thing, quick interruption here. Hobby Hands is asking if we have a link. I'm guessing it's the microscope, because I can't see he's asking for a link from somebody else. But
if it's about the microscope,
Glenn will probably dump it in there in the chat.
It'll be in when I do the video. The video will be released in a couple of days, and the link for it will be in there. And I think it's
patient, Hobby Hands.
Yeah, I think it's really worth it.
It looks cool.
I'm impressed for $43. I don't know how they did it. I'm very impressed.
It's kind of funny, the timing. I've been fixing a lot of things and soldering like a mad fool. So this is really cool. I was actually entertaining this idea.
And
what did he say? He had to solder 40 wires to fix
Yep.
A free 1541 drive not too long ago. This
I got a rework station ready. My problem is I have all the tools, but it's hard to see. I'm 54.
These
So
old eyes.
yeah, it's hard to see, but this thing really, I mean, you could really get down in there. So we'll do a video on that. Um,
Can't wait to see it.
Next thing I
Very
want to talk
good.
about was the Ikari Warriors. That's also been shipped. They shipped with the arcade control panel, so I'm expecting.
They're right in the center picture on that big control panel
Yep,
thing
that's
there.
it's playing over there on my other machine over there, and so if you had pre-ordered, I'll expect again the first, second week of November. You probably have your Ikari Warrior stick, and I want to add on top of that, we just released a firmware upgrade. So when you get your Ikari stick, you probably want to upgrade the firmware because we have a couple things we put in the new firmware. One thing we did
Just like the
was
games we have nowadays, day one
you,
patches.
yeah, but yes, I guess
I'm
I guess there's
joking.
some DLC on that. But one of the big things I wanted in there was to have a proper smooth spinner. So if you're playing Arkanoid or Breakout, it's not going in spots.
step.
It'll act just like the GRS Discs of Tron or a
spinner.
GOT spinner, right? So that'll be a
Yeah, the
firmware that's in
spinner.
there.
That's cool.
Also, there's an application which will allow you to rotate the joystick. Like when I put my joysticks in that tank stick, I had to rotate it 90 degrees to fit in there. So now you can go in the software, just click one button, and the joystick will
adjust it.
rotate. So and more
so
things
it
as well.
recenters itself kind of thing.
Exactly, and you can adjust
that's cool.
you can adjust the sensitivity of the spinner. So that we're continuing, and we still have more things planned for the Ikari stick. We have
It's
other
nice
firmwares.
that you could go in the software and tweak that stuff.
Yes,
good.
that's one of the big things we wanted to do about that. And
It's
again,
not just a analog mechanical thing, and here you go, and that's the end of it, kind of thing. Well, that's cool. Somebody's asking when the Viper will be released. Chris NXNW.
Talking about that next. So right now, that's what this is right here. I'm gonna take it out.
These guys they're dancy. They
are.
just wanna.
So in between all the green screen and
There's
aliens,
holes in them.
There it is. So here's the Viper. Now, right now, I have this in the hands of about 10. I think about 10 people have Vipers right now, and the hardware is okay. The problem is we are having. I don't want to say problems. There's teething. Every time you write code, there's going to be some bugs and glitches. So the people who have the Viper have been reporting certain things that we're going to get fixed. So we're working on that right now. The plan was always to release it before the end of the year, and that could technically be 11/59 on New Year's Eve. But if I'm going to release the Viper, I want this thing to be right. And again,
you want it ready to go.
I want it ready. So the people who are writing the games for it and people making ROM builds for it have raised a lot of concerns, and we're going to address them. So we're working on that right now. I have a special group just for the devs and people making builds for the Viper. And right now, they're all like, not the happiest people in the world, but they understand this is a brand new thing. We've never done an SBC before. This is the first thing for us. And we've also.
I think it's good that you're going through this phase. I don't want to interrupt you, but I think people have to understand a couple things. So you're a guy and you're putting out this thing. So you don't want to do like some people out in the retro community. They'll put something out. It's all full of bugs and it crashes or whatever. And then they decide to just abandon it down the road. And then, you spent $50, $100 or whatever the amount is and do it right.
Right.
Just take your time, get it out in people's hands.
Raven said it right there.
Yeah, exactly. Take your time and do it right. Yeah.
If I'm going to release something with my name on it, one of the things I've taken a lot of pride in is quality and value. So right now,
keep doing it, dude.
The thing is too, I not only want that quality and value for the people buying it, I also want that for the developers making things for it. And I want this to be easy on the developers. Right now, the developers have raised valid concerns. So we're like, okay, well, let's get it fixed. I've also engaged the actual Batacera team. We're in their Discord. I've talked to them as well directly. So the thing is with Batacera, their team, they obviously have their own things they need to do, but they're going to take a look at it and assist us to make sure that we're doing this right. I want the Viper to be right when it's released. So if it does come out a little bit later than, December, maybe January, I just don't want it to, like what Goopy said right here, take your time, don't one-up it. I definitely do not want that.
Yeah,
I want
exactly.
People, but again, none of the people.
You can put the one-up and you can replace it with so many names in there.
You can. But my thing as well is the developers who are taking their time. Because again, those developers and the people who make the ROMs for these builds.
Well, they want it to work too.
Well, they're doing it at their own free time, right? They're not getting paid for it. So I want to make sure I'm listening to what they need, and it's just going to take a little time to implement. So the Viper is being worked on, And in addition to that, like I said on the Viper, I'll show it one more time here. The Viper CPU is on a separate card, so we're already working on Viper Venom. So this is Viper, and then Viper Venom is basically going to be our like Raspberry Pi 5 version of it, our a high performance one that'll come out. So we're already starting to plan that out now, just so we get that out there. What else? What
There's a
else?
few
What else?
people talking about the VIC-20 in the chat.
Yeah, I have to get a VIC-20. I always had a love.
You and I
for the
had that
VIC-20.
discussion just before the show. I'm like telling Glenn, get a Commodore 64. They're a lot of fun. VIC-20 is pretty cool too.
Scott
I've got a
almost
VIC-20
got
in
a
a
VIC-20,
box.
but he passed on it. It looks like
$60 in the box is not bad.
no,
But that's US, I'm guessing.
that's a pretty
I
good deal.
picked mine up. I think it was like $30 Canadian in the box and everything. But there's some keys that need cleaning, so I got to rip all that apart.
Yeah, I just wanted the
Clean it.
VIC-20. I was telling Steven, just because I remember for William Shatner, all those commercials.
Yeah.
But the Space
He
Invaders,
wanted to sell you a VIC-20 bad.
He did, man. It's the wonder computer of the 1980s. So
Yeah,
I
that's
ended,
right.
I ended up getting a TI 994A, and I'm happy I got that. But I do eventually want to get the 20, and I never owned the 64. I've also never owned the 64. So
Somebody send him a Commodore 64. I don't have any spare ones, but a VIC-20, I don't have a spare. I have one VIC-20.
Upkiss
Boomstick.
reminded me of one thing I was to talk about too. We got sidetracked with the VIC-20.
The boomstick.
The boomstick. So the boomstick pre-orders will open in December. We will probably start shipping the boomstick or the GRS shotgun
Boomstick.
January.
No. GRS boomstick. You better make a box with that on there. That's good.
No.
Still talking about the.
So no, PW, you don't have to disassemble anything. So all you got to do is plug your USB A into the PC, and you can download the firmware. You don't need to disassemble anything. If you built the Ikara stick into something, the USB is available. Just goes into your PC. You download the firmware. Nothing has to be disassembled on that.
As long as you can get to the port itself.
Well, you have to be able to because you have to plug it in to play it. So that USB A plugs into your computer, and you're done.
Yeah.
But the shotgun boomstick pre-orders should be coming out in December for that. So another video I'm working on, I was telling Steven as well. So a coworker of mine at my day job, son has this Nintendo Switch, and apparently they used a Apple Mac Lightning connector in the USB-C port and jacked up that port. And that's why I got this magnifier. That's the real reason I got this thing down here, was because I want to make sure I can see this port and try and replace it for him. So that'll be a video I'm doing as well. Steven's like, "You doing that live?" I'm like, hell no.
I thought he was doing it live tonight. He had that little camera going and everything. I was like, wow, you got kahunas, my friend, doing live soldering. Hey, look, it works great. Next thing you know, you got magic smoke coming out of there. All kinds of stuff.
Oh, Hobby Hands, real quick. Hobby Hands says he's got two
64s,
but the joy ports don't work. Most likely, it's one of the
CIA
controllers.
chips.
Yep, exactly.
CIA chips. Yeah,
and
that's usually what
they're available, but they're on the. They have to desolder them, don't you? They're not.
Some of them are socketed in some boards, and some of them are not. So it depends what you get. They made like all kinds of boards revisions for the 64, and again, some of them were soldered, not so much.
Okay, what computer was Alan Alda from MASH promoting? That's a good question for you. I know which one that was.
Computer, wow. Not the ST.
Nope. It was not the Atari ST, but
it was the 800.
Alan. Oh, Steven got it. Correct. He was pushing the Atari 800. We had Mr. Pudding, Bill
I'm not
Cosby
even an Atari.
doing the
I'm not even
TI,
an Atari guy.
And then we had William Shatner doing the Commodore Commodore VIC-20, actually. So, yeah.
Cool. So we got some heavy duty, once my 64 works great.
So a lot of people have how many people? I'm gonna put a thing in the chat. How many people got like what here? Let's do a keep talking, Steven. I'm gonna put a poll out there. Keep talking. I'll get a poll going.
So I was telling Glenn, I've been doing some soldering all weekend. I've been repairing Xboxes. So if you own an original Xbox, I'm going to tell you guys right now what you need to check. Number one, clock capacitor. Go in there, yank it out. You can replace it or yank it out, but it's probably leaked already. So while you're in there, next thing you should check is 4 or 5 capacitors by the GPU and CPU. Check those. They usually swell up very obviously. And then after that, replace the thermal paste on the CPU and GPU, and then put it back together. As in, those are basic maintenance stuff, and I was doing that all weekend, replacing capacitors, thermal paste, clock capacitors, all that stuff. I'm not even talking about modding the thing. Just make sure you do that stuff if you've got an Xbox. But he's got the poll up. What was the first PC you had? Well, me, it's easy.
Well, then put it in the poll,
I,
man. Put it in the poll.
I did. It's already gone. So basically, the VIC-20 I never owned as a kid. My buddy had one, but I never owned a VIC-20. The first computer I ever touched was a PET. You turned it on, and went ding, 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 ding. It made a funky sound, Look
First
at that bar
computer.
for the 64s going up and down. It's like
Yeah,
a
I think
yo-yo.
the first computer I touched was in like elementary school, and they actually had an Apple II. They had an Epson. It was actually like a tractor feed paper, almost like a dump terminal, but it had BASIC in it.
A dot matrix or?
It was a dot matrix, but it was wide. It was like 120 characters across.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
We had what, an LX80 or something?
what is LX?
Dot matrix.
Oh,
LX80, the Epson printer, dot matrix printer, and that thing, man, when it started printing, made a hell of a racket.
it did. And
So,
like Scott here, the other computer they had with the Model 1 TRS-80s. They had a bunch
my
of
neighbor
those
had that.
laying
We
around.
were always arguing what was better, the Commodore 64 or the TRS-80. I always thought he was smoking something if he thought the
Well, the
TRS-80
Trash
was better than the
80 was
64.
obviously a lot. The original black and white one was very much more primitive, but still did some pretty cool things.
The Coco 2 with the color one was
The
better.
Coco 3 is the one I think would have went head to head with the 64, but that was the last version that they had. But that was
gotcha.
a good powerhouse. It didn't sell very well because everything was kind of like dying out and everything was going with the IBM PC at that point. But the 64 right now looks like it's taking the lion's share, which is to be expected, being the number one selling computer of all time.
Single model computer of all time. Yeah, it's in the millions, like in the 20 millions or some crazy thing like that. It's still, but in the chat we've got
a lot of
let's see,
TIs.
some people that was the first computer you had, but maybe in the chat maybe put in this sounds so perverted, but what was the first computer you touched without having to go to jail? So what was the first computer you touched? Me, like I said, it was. Oh, I don't have an SX64 hobby hands. No, that's like a unicorn for me.
They're out there though.
No, I know they're out there, but they're hard to get, and a lot of them, the cables that go from the keyboard to the machine itself, the cables screwed up or broken.
I'd say my big disappointment.
Whatever, but
My disappointment with the TI was that it was supposed to be a full 8-bit machine, and by putting that TMS 990 16-bit mini frame microprocessor in there was so much glue logic and insufficient page. It was slow. Out of all the computers,
it wasn't even worth having in there, I guess.
yeah. Well, the thing was, the sound and graphics went to the ColecoVision and the MSX computer line, which was legendary, but the machine was just so damn slow. I mean, I forgot this guy. I mean, I'll get him on the channel one day. He was a computer program that you just run in BASIC, and it shows you how fast it is. The TI was like Rip Van Winkle. It like took forever, and it was a 16-bit machine. And even a Timex Sinclair 1000 was like beating it in integer math. So it's pretty sad.
Hobby Hands saved the SS64 from a trash dump.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow. And is it working?
Good for you.
It's complete, but is it working? I remember they were going for sale for like $80, $90 for a while, but now they're crazy money.
In the hundreds. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Jason molested a Commodore PET computer.
He said that Epka said basically we need to get the 64 back to 64%. It's at 65% now.
Well, there was a 65. There was a 65.
Well, there's a Mega 65 that just came out or whatever, right?
But there was a Commodore 65. It just never got it got released in like 50 of them. Because Amiga Bill, I can't think of his friend's name, actually got one. He purchased it from I think it was the not the Pi Hut, but it was like the Amiga version, the Amiga Hut, or something like that. And he purchased one back in the day.
Huh.
I do have
to say it works great, but it's a PAL version from the UK.
That's okay.
That's what.
That's okay. It's got its own screen. It's got its own screen in there, right? So
It's literally like this big. It's
yeah, it's a 5
size of an
inch.
apple.
It's a 5-inch
Yeah.
screen in there. But I definitely want to get a VIC 20. I want to get a 64. Maybe a donation. I'll get one of those coming out at some
Send them
point.
one, guys. Send them one if you guys have one kicking around. They're not expensive.
They're
They're
not.
just
They're not. I just want. I really just
you don't
want
need a
one to.
floppy drive. You don't even need a
No,
floppy drive because you can use a Pi 1541. You can
that
put
or you can
together a
use
little
one of
kit
those
or
what those
SD to IEC. It's called, and it's an SD card
there's
thing.
that. There's,
But
oh, what's over
but it's
here?
not
I'm sorry.
compatible as much though. That's the problem. Sorry.
Name.
6 Coleco Atoms and just got one. I'm not an Atom fan. I had a look at that. As much as I love the ColecoVision, the Atom, I just can't get my head wrapped around it. It
I
just doesn't
actually,
make sense to me.
I always back when the Atom was being talked about, I was going to buy that, or I was going to keep expanding my TI. I ended up still expanding my TI at the time because I heard about all the problems with the digital data packs. But I now
Oh yeah,
have a full Atom computer, and I also have two expansion module 3s, one with an
that plug in
F18.
the front of the Coleco
Yep,
there.
but one of those I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
an F18A in there. This way I can plug through my ColecoVision and get the Atom output. The Atom is actually really nice. The basic was AppleSoft compatible. So about
Oh, interesting.
98% of the software that ran on Apple II would run on the Atom. And the tape drives, as buggy as that they were pretty
They were
ingenious.
fast.
They were
They were
fast. They
fast.
actually were indexed. They were indexed. But the big downfall was still if you put it near anything that could be erased, when you
It
turn
was
that
gone.
sucker on, it was like
It
an
was
EMP,
gone.
man. Boom! It was gonna
I heard
blow it
about
out the
that.
door. Blow it out the
Scott
door.
said also, if the VIC 20 is still there tomorrow, I'll get it for you. So, Scott, get a hold of
Oh,
Glenn.
Scott, no. No, Adam's not crap. It's fun.
But he said earlier he'll get you a VIC 20 if it's still there. So that's kind of cool.
Cool. Jason was saying here, there's a new Atom Plus coming out. Oh, I did see that.
I saw that too.
I
I
did
think it's
see that.
already out, isn't it? Didn't they make like an Atom Nook or something?
There was a
Or maybe
guy
it's not
make
the same thing.
it was a
Little
small
mini
yeah, it was a small
thing.
one. I remember seeing
Yeah,
that. But that's a cool thing.
yeah.
The Coleco the ColecoVision had such a good following. People still doing it and making them today. And again, they're pretty much all off-the-shelf parts. So you can
Yeah.
still build a brand new one if you wanted to.
I've got my Mister and it's got everything on there. So we're good. For me, anyways. I'm not talking about everybody else, but for me, the Mister, it's got the Coleco in there, the Commodore 128, the VIC 20, the PET, all of it. It's all there, which is good.
Well, Jordan
An
says, I got
Atari
an Atari
800.
800. My dad's friend's son had it hacked hard, had a hacked hard drive so it can copy the games. Excellent. That was the thing too back then. You know, they remember that don't copy that floppy. Everyone copied that floppy. That floppy had VD all over the place, man. Those floppies were molested back in those
Oh, the
days.
64 piracy ran rampant. Like
yeah.
you went to your buddy's house with a bunch of other friends and you did a copy session basically. It's okay, you bring a box of blank discs. Okay, I'm gonna copy
Now,
this for
do you want
you.
to see what Jason wrote here? You had a Phoenix. You sold your Phoenix though, right?
It's gone on eBay and I got a nice price for it.
You didn't like the Phoenix.
I detested it for one major reason. And it was what happened was the testing they barely did any, but it would feed power back through the HDMI port. It would backfeed power. So you turn it off and it was still on because it was getting some voltage from the HDMI port.
Oh, okay. It was
So
drawing.
you turn it off and you're like, okay, I'm just resetting it. You turn it on, it would be busted. It would crash. So you'd have to literally pull the HDMI cord out, let the little LED fade out, plug it back in. Hey, imagine that doing that all the time. Screw
That's
that.
annoying.
I wanted
That
to
is a little
sit my
annoying.
fat ass on the couch and be done with it. You know what I mean? And it's just not enough testing. It's simple as that. That could have been fixed from the get go, but no.
You probably could have cut a trace on there. I'm sure.
I don't know. I'm okay with electronics, but do you think I wanted to start hacking away in there? No. And maybe it was a 4-layer board and that layer would have been, I don't know. They basically told me to go get a switch, like a little HDMI switch box. I'm not buying another Switch box. I ended up selling it. I'm
You
going to
made
be
some
honest
money.
with you. Oh, dude, I totally made money. I paid 200 Canadian dollars for that thing. I ended up selling it on eBay, which was the first thing I ever sold. I don't sell on eBay, but it's the first thing I ever sold on eBay, and it was a bidding war. That thing went up to 1,200
And
Canadian
will you pay
dollars,
for it?
$200.
Wow.
It went by the time I put money in my pocket, it was like about $850 after eBay fees and everything else. I do not miss it for a second. I've got my Mister. It does way more. The only thing it doesn't do is play original cartridges. Well, I got a bunch of Colecos I could go do that with. So, and the video quality on the Mister is like 100 times better. I'm not here bashing anybody. I'm just telling it like it came.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was
It was
broken out of
the
the gate.
Phoenix was it was an interesting project. It really
It was an
was.
interesting idea, but poor execution, in my opinion.
But it also
Again,
didn't it also have the super game module built in and some
yes,
other
the
things built in.
F-18, all that
It took
stuff.
an F-18 had a cartridge slot, but also an SD card slot. So
Yes, and it had the Atari 2600 core in
okay,
there.
built in.
But the machine itself, if you plugged it in HDMI, it stayed on. So you're like, well, oh, and it didn't output to all the televisions. So I have a Yamaha surround sound amp. I plugged it into that. There's no picture.
That's not
I'm
good.
like, well, this is no good. I'm so good. NFG, man. So that
Well,
it
because if
was
I'm not
just bad news
mistaken,
all the way around
if
for
not
me. It was
mistaken,
just
they implemented their own HDMI, right? They didn't pay a
I
license.
have no idea. I
I think that's
honestly
what it
don't
was.
know.
I think they implemented their own HDMI
I think you're
protocol.
right. I think you're right to save money, I'm guessing. But in the end, it didn't work. Like it worked, but it was, you know,
Had some issues.
I'm not here to bash, but it's just like I was not happy with that thing at all. And they could have avoided quite a few things. I know it's expensive to do beta testing and all that stuff because these boards, they don't grow on trees.
Right.
But yeah, I could go on a rant for weeks of this thing, but I won't. So let's move on.
We can, but I saw someone said it before. I also always wanted to get my hands on, the Timex Sinclair 1000, which
That was
was
a cool little computer. They were
but
selling
I
them
want
at
the kit.
drugstores here.
But I want the kit. I remember when I was a kid, you could buy the Timex Sinclair 1000 as a kit for $99, or it was like 129 assembled. And I want to get one to
To
build
assemble it.
yeah, I want to find one of those kits where I build it myself.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. So in North America, it was called the Timex Sinclair 1000.
Right.
In Europe, it was called something else. It wasn't Timex over there. It
No,
was just Sinclair.
it was Sinclair. It was I think it was
The
a
company was Sinclair, wasn't it?
yeah. I know
It's not called a
this
Timex thing
no.
over there. Nobody knows what we're talking about. If
They had the ZX was it ZX 1000, and then they came out with this one. Let me look it up real quick. Now they're gonna bugging me now.
but it was called something else. If you guys know in the chat, do put it. The Timex Sinclair 1000 was just called something else. It's kind of like the
Well,
Leisure
the
Vision here in
ZX81,
Canada.
the ZX81 was the first one, and then they built
Yes, it never
the
came out in North America.
no, they didn't, and it was kind of cool. They're still calling it like Timex Sinclair, but it's not what it was called. The ZX81. No, that's the original.
Okay.
That was the original. ZX81 was the original one. No, ZX80. I'm sorry. ZX80 was the first one. ZX81 is our Timex Sinclair 1000. There we go.
Oh, gotcha.
There we
Okay,
go.
that would make sense. The
So,
screen, I think you can only see that thing in black and white too, right?
well, it
It
was a
was
couple
only
things. The processor did everything on it. So that's right, John. Thank you, John. So when you press the key, the whole screen went blank, and then the CPU would type the next letters. Then you press the next letter, it would go blank, and it would type the next letter. So, but the
you'd
amazing
get
thing,
some epilepsy going on there if you're
well,
not
the
careful.
amazing thing is they actually got a version of Dragon's Lair. It's only black and white. It's not even grayscale. It's black and white. There's a version of Dragon's Lair running off an SD card on the machine. So when I saw
Wow.
that, I'm like, you know what?
I gotta get me one of
Primitive
those.
as primitive as it is, to see something like that done on the machine is enough for me to go, I want one. I want to
You
build
gotta
it.
at least try it. You gotta try it. I know the keyboard was just a membrane.
It was
wasn't
it makes
like
the Atari 400 look like gold.
oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Like I knew a guy that had one. I only knew one person that ever bought one. And I remember going into a drugstore up here in Canada, a drugstore,
Mhm.
like Canadian Tire, which is our hardware store, sold Commodore 64s and VIC 20s. Well, the drugstore decided to sell the Timex Sinclair 1000.
Well, it was a
There was
computer.
no computer stores back then.
Yeah,
There was
and
some, but
it was inexpensive enough. Like it was not an impulse buy because back in like 1980, $100 still was a lot of money.
mhm.
But when you look at other computers going for 500. I mean, the Commodore 64 when it first came out was 549 or something like that, or 599
I
when it
forget.
first came
Yeah,
out.
it was about $500.
My TI we bought in 1980. We spent $1,000. Crazy Eddie. Crazy Eddie was
Wow.
$1,000 we spent on that TI. My father goes, "You show us what you want," and of course, I said it before on the show. I didn't know that one computer couldn't run other computers' cassettes.
You
I
thought it was
figured,
all universal.
yeah, I thought I'd go home. I bring up some Atari 400 stuff. I put it on, and yeah,
Oh,
I started
dude, you were
loading.
what, 13 years old with
Yeah,
that?
yeah, it didn't work. I'm like, "Oh, no. I wanna play those games." But,
Yeah,
oh
what do
well.
you mean I
Dad,
can't take your
yeah,
Commodore
so
64
I
game and
told my
load it?
dad every day, "Nope, this is the computer I wanted." I never let him know that I was quite disappointed when I and of course, the joysticks were the most horrible joysticks on the planet.
The 64, if you the people in the chat will know this, okay? If you own the Commodore 64, there was one game that killed joysticks. It was Summer Games, it was the 100-meter dash. It broke joysticks like nobody's business. I don't know if people remember that in the chat. Maybe I'm the only one, but I still have up there the boss, the Wicco boss,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the gray and black joystick and
Yep.
stuff like that. So it's that killed joystick. Summer Games, the 100-meter dash. It was nuts. It
So
was
so
it,
Jason, remember, Jason's the AI of our group. So the Commodore 64 was, I remember he's right, 595 initially, then it went down in 83 to 250,
250.
and then it went down to 150. And that's also when their shield,
$99 later.
well, the thing is, the shield went from aluminum to literally tinfoil spray painted. I remember that too. That was
Well, the
our
Commodore
shield.
64 had an RF shield that was cardboard with on
Yes.
the other side it was a glued
Yep.
cellophane
Yep.
or whatever
Yeah.
on the other side.
So when you got the 595 one, you actually got the quality one. Then you started getting
The cut
the
corners one.
cut corners one. Exactly. Exactly. Um,
Wow, that's crazy though when you think about all that. So what's our poll at now?
oh, so no,
22
I
votes.
totally forgot about the poll. Let's bring that up here. And
Hey, by the way, there's 55 people in here. Go vote on the poll
yep, we'll leave it up for a few more minutes. So right
because
now,
according to this, it's only 22 people that participate. Like half of you didn't participate. So go in the chat or in the chat
well,
if
maybe
you're
they
on a
didn't own
mobile
any.
phone.
Maybe they to the chat
Yeah, that's true too.
the poll only lets me do
That
4. So I couldn't put like Curious 80 or I didn't have any of
a
these.
whole bunch of them. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Got the big heavy hitters there, anyways, which isn't bad. But right now, the Commodore 64 is clearly the winner. The
Well,
TI 99,
we'll
not
keep the chat
bad.
open 10 more minutes. We'll let that keep going for 10 more minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go put a thing in the vote. We'll check it out after. But excuse me.
Now,
Oh, you completed the poll. All right.
did I? Did I end the
Well, it
poll?
says poll completed. Yes. Oh,
I'll keep it open 10
oh.
more minutes, and I ended the poll. Sorry, guys.
Well, that's what it said. Poll complete.
Well, there we go.
22 votes.
There we go. So, there's
Oh,
a
well,
lot
Commodore
less.
64 won. That's all it
There
was.
was a lot less VIC 20s than I thought. I really thought because VIC 20 was even more inexpensive. I thought they would have sold more
Well,
of
my
those.
buddy bought the VIC 20, got to know that thing quite a bit, and then we first owned the Commodore 64 with the cassette deck, and we were hogging the TV, and my dad was like, there's none of that. And he basically got the monitor to not be hogging the living room TV to play the Commodore 64, right?
Well,
So
that was the other big thing too, because we actually had 2 TVs in the house. We had a 25-inch Zenith.
you must have been rich.
Well, that's the thing.
What,
We had a
what's the
25
movie
inch.
that says that? You got two.
Uh,
Oh, Back to the
Back to the
Future.
Future. So the 25 inch
You must be
Zenith
rich.
was the main TV set. Then we had a 10-inch black and white TV set that was really in the kitchen. It was an old GE 10-inch, and that's kind of where you connected to. So you're looking through the RF on black and white on a 10-inch
Yeah,
screen, trying to type your
yeah.
basic program. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Those were
Well,
the
Hobby
days.
Hand seems to have the same. So my first computer in the house was a Commodore 64. Then I got an Amiga 500 that I bought with my own money. and then it just had an external floppy drive, I think,
Hmm.
and the monitor, a 1084S monitor.
I love that
And
monitor. I get rid of it. And I kick myself every day for getting rid of that
basically,
monitor.
then I went to the dark side of Windows with
We
Windows
had no choice.
95 and
Once
la la la.
when like Doom came
Commodore
out,
went belly up.
yep, that's when kind of Doom came out, and you had to. I felt dirty going from my Amiga to an NEC. No, it was a compact. It was a compact Presario 486. Felt dirty, but didn't have a
Felt
choice.
dirty.
Didn't have a choice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
So the Commodore 64 NES. Yeah, we're starting to show people's age here, right? The NES. But the Commodore 64, it was so popular. At least here in Canada, they
I never
they had
owned
it
it.
in
That's the thing.
schools. They had it everywhere. Commodore in Canada had a very large
Well, you had the Queens.
extended reach on
That was the
the.
Queens country, right? The Queens country had
Well,
Commodore was big,
it's not
right?
just that. It's Commodore and Canada in the educational field they had a strong reach and influence in the educational sector. Like
Well,
the
that was the
school
thing.
I had,
Apple and
you
Commodore
know,
did. You're right.
they were in schools, and then it was easier. They didn't they must have planned this because we'd go home and I'd tell my parents, hey, they have Commodore 64s at the school. How about we get one here too? And I could do my homework. They never gave us homework on there, but they didn't know that, right? So it was like, hey, I'm gonna go play some games and copy some games. And I mean, we're all like teenagers. We didn't have any money,
I remember
so
I was had to be 15, I think, and I went to one of the computer labs because the science teacher had his own private computer lab, and these little boxes in there. I'm like, what the heck is that thing? And it's got this little 3-inch disc, and it ejects. It was the first like the 128 Macintosh, the original Macintosh, and I was not part of his class, but I would go in every lunchtime. I would sneak in there, and he would just look at me. He knew I wasn't supposed to be there, but he left me alone. And I would use Mac Paint. I was in there Mac Paint drawing in Mac Paint all the time on that original Mac.
that's funny.
It was amazing. And of course, that's when floppy disks. Like one floppy disk cost you like it was expensive
It
for a
was a
3.5 inch
dollar a
disc.
piece almost. A floppy disk for the Commodore 64 for a box of 10 was about $20, $2 each. I mean, sorry. So it was like $2, $20 for a box. I'd save my allowance just to buy a box of floppy disks. Oh, by the way, to change the subject a little tiny bit,
Hmm.
if you guys want to watch a television series that pertains to the era of this 80s computer stuff, is *Halt and Catch Fire*. So if
That's
you
got to be. That's not on the air anymore, is it?
no, but if you go grab it somewhere or a streaming service or whatever, it is a good watch. It is pretty good. So if you guys have never seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, do
But
watch it.
it
My
is
wife and I
not.
are watching it now.
But it is
So
not really historically accurate.
oh no, no, no.
There are
You know what?
liberties in that
Look at it this way.
show.
From what I could tell, it's fictional characters in a loose reality of what actually happened. There's some companies like the Mac that was introduced at CES '84 or something like that. That actually happened, but were the people uh, in the show really? No, there was no what they call the giant and all that stuff. So pretty, if you guys ever get a chance to watch it, go watch it. I don't know if it's on any streaming services. You know what? It sucks when you try to catch up on an old show and you say, "Hey, where is this on a streaming service?" Nobody can tell you. But it's drawn from real events. The Commodore 64 is in
Right.
there. Apple's
I remember TI.
influence,
There was some TI in
IBM,
there. I
the
remember all
TI.
those.
Yes. Well, the guy's wife works for Texas Instruments. I think she ends up quitting eventually, but it's no
But it is a
spoilers.
good
But
show. I think I watched like 4
there's 3
episodes.
seasons of that.
Yep, I
There's
watched
3
4
seasons,
episodes of it.
and I think there are 10 episodes per season, something like that.
Hobby Hands, how could you not have watched the Tetris movie? What the hell? That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
Oh, it's an awesome movie. AMC Plus is probably what it is, Epicus for sure. So anyways, *Halt and Catch Fire*, go check it out. It's pretty awesome series. It's all pertaining to what we're talking about, basically, to some level. My wife, she's not a computer person, but she loves the series. A lot of betrayals and all that drama crap.
I have to get back into. I was watching an Apple Plus TV. It was a space series. I can't think of the name of it. It was basically what would happen if the Russians had beaten us to the moon.
Oh, yeah,
How?
you told me about that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you
I
watched
watched
one.
it, but
You said you couldn't
1 or 2
stand it,
episodes. I couldn't get into it because it was an alternate like, the Russians went to the moon first and all
right?
that stuff, and
And it's actually
it
pretty
wasn't.
woke. It's pretty woke. A lot of woman astronauts saving, like the original astronauts, the real original astronauts. The women kind of saved them quite a bit. The guys are like having breakdowns and panic attacks, and it's like,
Mental
wow,
breakdown. "Leave me
wow,
alone, I'm in my corner. Go away."
exactly right.
But yeah, for sure, as like, all this stuff, like, I mean, yes, I agree with, Devil Waldo. The SID chip in the Commodore 64, it's hard to beat. Even to
I
this
will
day for a
say,
single chip, it's unbelievable.
The Pokey chip was 5 years older, and it can keep up with it. Sid was better, but the Pokey chip was real close
The
from
crappy
Atari.
part with the SID, in my opinion, um is the problem is they made different versions of it, so you've got different flavors that sound different. It does the same thing, but
Right.
one's a little warmer sound, a
Yep.
little crisper sound, and
Yep.
it's too bad that it's inconsistent like that, right? They must have
Real
tried cheaping out, I guess, or
Well,
something.
I think they tried to save a little buck here and there, and they changed filters and they changed capacitors and the chip itself. But real quick,
They want you
uh,
to watch Warcraft already.
I knew once I said that thing about Tetris, Warcraft was going to come my
That's
way,
funny.
so I opened my mouth on that one. But Jordan wants to know if I can use my yoke with the new Hot Wheels game. If it can accept an analog joystick or mouse controls, it should. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. I would say you have to try it, but it should. And yes, I'm horribly guilty here, but I've honestly been really busy testing I got all these
It's
products coming out.
priorities, you just don't wanna watch it, that's all.
No, don't say that because I do want to see it. I
You
haven't
gotta
really had a
watch it
chance.
because Microsoft owns that thing. Well, I don't
That's
think they
not why
own
Pliskin's
that
run is
movie
be
yet, but he's
be
been
mad
bugging
at
you
me.
for weeks, man.
Yeah, guys, he's like
He's
Glenn,
like,
man. It's in like 6 months. You keep saying you're gonna watch it every week, and every week come back and you didn't watch it.
I guess, yeah, months, not just weeks. He's since we did that whole movie bit, video game movies. But yeah, it's not bad. They actually, I think, used a clip from it when they did the acquisition of Microsoft. They
Really?
played like yeah, Microsoft stitched together like a welcome to the Microsoft Xbox family, and then they had a clip from the movie, if I'm not mistaken. So it's look at
I'm
that
I'm
zooming in
impressed,
there.
man. I am just impressed with this thing. $43. This thing is
Not
as
bad.
micro SD card, records video, different modes. I got to do the video, but I'm really impressed with this damn thing. I'm not. It's fun playing with it, touching it, just touching it.
I ain't gonna
No, it
comment on
wasn't.
that.
You know what wasn't a great movie? The House of the Dead movie was not a great movie. And there was House of the Dead 2 movie, I think, too, as well, which was even worse.
The House of the Dead.
Yeah,
I
yeah. They
can't
actually made a
remember.
movie. It started off kind of good, and it just got like it went like Doom. It just got like dumb. Went right down the shitter.
Yeah, Doom was pretty bad. Wasn't The Rock in Doom?
He was. It
Yeah.
was bad, and then they made like
Eh,
the last 20 minutes like you were in the game, and it's just like, what the hell, you guys? What are you doing?
oh,
What are
they're
you
trying to
doing?
be that was called attempted fan service back in the day, you know.
You know what? You're right, and it just didn't work.
It
But
was an epic fail because, "Hey, we made it look just like the video game." And they're like, "No,
for
man."
me, the only
They should have
movies
brought in all the creatures and
they
stuff.
should
They
have,
just
because
missed out
for
of
me,
half the
the
creatures weren't
only
even in
good
there.
video game movies I crossed over was the original Tomb Raider, Rampage, and the first Mortal Kombat. To me, those were like
They're
fairly
decent,
well done. Fairly well done. Maybe even the original Resident Evil
did you
wasn't
like the Mario
terrible.
movie that came out? I thought it was meh. It
Yeah,
was
it
okay.
came and gone. I saw it.
It's forgettable, that's the problem.
Very, very.
For me, that's how I rate movies in my older age. I don't know about like you, Glenn, and people in chat, but if I can't remember what the hell I just watched and within a few days and remember some stuff, I'd be like, I don't remember anything. But there's some movies I do remember and they're memorable, you know. Some of them you're just like, what the hell did I just watch? I don't want to keep that in my brain. Next, you know. So it's that simple, right? Any good movies that came out?
What's that? I'm sorry. No. What? What?
No, 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 it's fine. No, no, it's fine.
What?
He missed a Steps Gaming. You missed a shotgun.
No, it's a
Say the
Steps.
announcement again. It's
I
gonna
will.
go.
So the pre-order for the boomstick or the Sinden Zero shotgun, whatever you want to call it, the pre-orders will open in December, and we'll probably be shipping in January. Just it took us too long to get the parts. It had to come from England to China, and we had to go through a huge process to get it through without paying a huge amount of fees. So, December, and I agree here. The new D&D movie, Dungeons and Dragons movie,
It wasn't bad.
it was good. I liked it. I liked it.
Again, it wasn't memorable much, but it was okay.
Yeah, but I could see that I could watch again. I could watch it again. I could see myself watching it a few times. True story, and you know how I feel about this. So I came home last night. I was doing a couple of things. Sat down. I was going through the TV, and on TNT they were playing The Force Awakens. I said, you know what? Let me put it on.
Did you throw up or?
I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I'm just like, I can't. And I just
You
turned
might
it
as
off.
well have been scratching fingernails on a dark.
I caught it. I caught it from when Super Ray, instantly knew how to fly the Millennium Falcon like better than Han, and it was telling Han how to fix
What to
things.
do?
I'm just like, you know what?
Nah.
I'm done, and I turned it
Yeah.
Turned it off.
Okay, so are we ready to talk a little Ahsoka?
But yeah, honestly, why not?
Because I
not?
think last time we were keeping it for okay, you got to go watch it, no spoilers, blah blah blah.
I think enough time's passed.
And I think enough time's passed. It's been over for what 2 or 3 weeks now, something like that. I enjoyed it. I'll be honest with you. The ending was a little weird, but and except like we were talking about the pushing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
I thought it was
it was
okay
all
as
right.
well because I was a fan of Rebels, but I do think, and I'm not gonna say exactly who, but I do think someone who magically got the Force, who never had anything about it, once again went from
Couldn't even move. What was that thing on the table? Couldn't even move that.
From zero to Wonder Ray, and so that was just like, you know what, you lost me. You had me. I was still on the hook, but that turned me off. It did.
But it could be that what's his face gave himself the push, not her, right? Fooled her, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
You know what? All right, but I don't
I'd
think
believe
so.
that. I
I
would
don't
believe.
think so.
I don't think so either. But she couldn't even move. What was that thing on the table she was trying to move? The fucking thing didn't even move.
She couldn't do anything. Now she's taking a 200-pound man and like chucking him like
Yeah,
Frito.
tossing
Like,
him.
go. No, you know what the biggest thing is? She's like, I'll throw you. He should have asked, have you ever done this before? At least he's done it. He's done it multiple
that's
times.
right. He's you saw his history of the Force. She didn't have any Force anything until this series, right? So, and she got stabbed and skewered and lived through it.
Yep. Hobby Hands got it right here. Ray can fly better than a 200-year-old Chewbacca. There's nothing Ray can't do, including stealing a Skywalker name, man. She can do whatever she wants. Wonder Ray.
It's I hope they get rid of that series or they make like that was an alternate timeline. Okay, fine. But
19K Fox has got it right here, Ben. That's right, buddy. Mary Sue
again.
Yep. She gets in there.
And
somehow.
You know what? There's so much potential for that character with a Mandalorian mix and the little Jedi or little Force sensitive.
It is. But
it's cool to have that in there. But what do they do with it? They do the Mary Sue thing, and I'm like,
well, here's the thing. Here's what's getting me even more so. Okay, I was watching. After I watched some of that Force Awakens, I had to go back and watch some real Star Wars. When you held up a lightsaber,
you had to go to the bathroom first and mouthwash a little bit.
The lightsabers were raw power. You know, like almost 2 hands. It was a violent weapon. When it cut through
it's
things,
pure energy, man.
It didn't cut through nicely. You go into a blast door, it's like 8 inches of steel melts it. Now you stab these Wonder Women, and they go and like a half hour later, all right, let's go. What the hell? When a lightsaber hits you, man, you're done, or you're messed up. You're not walking away with a little like you got stabbed with a pair of tweezers. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Now you're getting me. See,
look at it this way.
End of the show, Steve. You're getting me mad now.
I don't know what in Star Wars universe if you get stabbed in your abdomen, but a human being, there's a few organs there that would get pulverized. And yes, a Chewbacca, yeah. But think about it. The organs.
Qui-Gon was probably a pussy, basically, is what he's saying. He must have been. Couldn't take it.
Yeah. Exactly. So, anyways, let's skip the Star Wars thing. But Ahsoka was okay overall. I thought
It was compared to
it
other
was
things that's
okay.
been out there.
It was
I
way better
enjoyed
than
it,
Obi-Wan.
but yes, it was. But I only enjoyed it because I enjoyed Rebels. So that was always the back of my head. These are the characters from Rebels. I enjoyed seeing Chopper. I thought Chopper was done really well. I
Well,
enjoyed
even
him.
young Ahsoka was pretty well done too. I thought the young
She was
Ahsoka,
phenomenal. I told you that.
yeah,
The young
yeah, no,
Ahsoka,
it's
I
good.
thought nailed her.
Yeah,
And
with
that episode with Anakin, I thought was
it's
mostly
super
good.
well done.
Mostly good.
It was okay. It was pretty good. I thought they did all right there. I thought let's see if there's a second season. Disney's apparently not doing very well.
And deservedly
They
so. They don't deserve to be doing well with the
no,
stuff
that's
they've been
right.
pumping out.
They got to pick up their garbage and start over, basically.
Not that I'm going to see it, but I'm dying to see how bad Captain Marvel 2 it does. I can't wait to see it like totally.
I think it's called Marvels, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. You know more than
Or
I do.
something like that.
I just want to
it's called
see.
Marvels.
I want to see it make like $13.65.
Oh, that's going to be all kinds of woke because there's 3 girls in there, and
they're already
it's like they're
predicting. They're already predicting it's going to be like
failure.
the worst failure they've ever seen. That's the prediction.
They sink millions of dollars into these things, and you know what baffles me about these things, like a lot? There's nobody in the room that stands up and go, "This is a terrible idea." No, they just say yes, yes. And
No,
keep
because
going, and then
they hire all yes men and women, and they do that. And again, the problem comes down to one simple fact we said again and again and again. Make a new character. Don't take the current characters and either gender swap them or whatever. Leave them the character because that's the character for the past. Some are like 50, 60 years old.
Well, the perfect example is Snow White. When they they did the whole thing, and it was like, what are they doing? Like, go come up with. You know what the thing is? They're not creative anymore. They're just recycling crap.
But they use the people who know those characters. Go, oh, I want to see that film, and they destroy the character. They destroy the legacy of the character, and they make nothing new. Just make it. If you can't come up with a new story, I have no problem with strong women. Ahsoka's a strong woman. I have no problem with her. Ripley, strong woman. No problem with her. There's tons of them. I have no problem with it.
Oh yeah, the list goes on and on. It's not like there's a shortage.
They're their own character that were built up that way. Don't take. I'm going to admit. Starbuck, you turned it into a chick. I had a hard time with it. I watched the show. Okay, I still had a hard time with it. You could have Starbuck and made a new character versus
you know
Starbuck.
what?
I'm sorry.
For me, I'm going to tell you, I have a philosophy about movies. I go to movies to get to be given bullshit. Make your bullshit believable, and I'll buy into it. It's kind of like a perfect example is Independence Day, right? Sarah Connor, obviously.
Yep. K-19's got it right.
Yeah, if you watch Independence Day, I was sold on the whole movie right up until the Macintosh computer gave the mothership a virus. I walked out of the theater going, what in the world did I just watch? And they didn't bullshit me enough. They could have came up with anything.
I remember Apple commercials for like a year after that movie came out saying, we saved the world.
Yeah, no, for me, I'll never forget that. I walked in that theater and I was in there. I bought it. I bought the bullshit. But as soon as they introduced a Mac and grounded the whole thing and uploaded a virus to that big mothership with crazy technology, but the Mac,
K-19's on a roll. 19K is on a roll here again.
Oh yeah. Celine is what's her name? That actress.
Don't matter. Just have to look at her.
No, it's not Katie Bosworth. Anyways, so that to me, if you're gonna bullshit me, bullshit me. Like I'll eat up whatever you're putting on the screen, So Princess Leia, yeah, exactly.
Yep, strong woman.
And she didn't even need to take a lightsaber either. She just had to tell Darth Vader to go screw himself.
She did. She stood up to all of them. She didn't care.
She went.
But then they ruined her. But then they ruined her. They ruined her in the friggin' Kenobi film.
Oh yeah,
they ruined her. I'm sorry. They ruined the whole thing.
So we got 3 minutes, and we're all riled up over Star Wars.
Yeah. And it's my fault. It's my fault for turning it on for a few minutes, saying, "No, let me look again," and it just went right back to what a mess.
Shouldn't have done that.
What a hot mess though they were. Hot mess.
That's like looking. I don't know. Yeah. Forget that. You don't want to look down that rabbit hole anymore.
All right,
I don't
so
even own those movies. I don't even own them. I own all the other ones, but not
all right,
those
now
three.
that I'm all like pissed off, and I did it to myself, people. I did it to myself. Listen, Super Game Room Dudes is coming out at 9 o'clock. They have a great show coming on tonight.
Yep.
Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in to us every Friday. I so look forward to you guys coming in every week. Steven looks
We
forward to you coming in every
appreciate
week.
hanging out with us
We
because you
do.
guys could be doing something else on your Friday, but you're hanging out with us clowns. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
great.
So, again, we have a lot of stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks and the rest of the year. So stay tuned. If you did buy the iArcade GRS Ultimate controllers, you should be getting them mid-November. The Ikara stick about mid-November. Firmware updates already available for that as well. But
Oh, I almost
here we go.
forgot.
Here we go. Gen women handle payments better. I suppose that's true. But I've had many kidney stones, and women have had kidney stones, and children says they'd rather have kids.
Oh, I
And
almost forgot.
oh wait, I gotta say
World
one
of
more thing,
Commodore.
Stephen. Hold on,
Go
one more
ahead.
thing. This is
Go
a
ahead.
big
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Women will have a kid and say, you know what, the pain was bad, but I'll have another kid. Guy gets kicked in the balls, never says, you know what, that wasn't that bad. Kick me in the balls again. So maybe,
Yeah, go figure.
maybe,
Maybe we're just wimps. I don't know.
maybe, could be.
Anyways, quick thing. December 2nd and 3rd, World of Commodore in Toronto.
Okay.
So I'm going to be there. Hopefully everything lines up. But if you guys want to come and say hi, it's a nerd Commodore show up in Toronto, December 2nd and 3rd, I believe. So if you guys want to make it out there, that's great. So we're going to sign off. You sign us off this time. You
I
always put
will.
me
I
on the
just want to
spot
again
there.
thank everyone here, including women. Take pain better. Jen, let's believe that on that. But I do want to thank everyone for joining. It is when you have a hard week, it's great spending some time with you guys to unwind. It's always
Very
appreciated.
therapeutical.
But remember, as much as we have fun here, as much as we like our games, make sure you take a minute to tell a family and friend member that you guys know, Steven, I love you. They tell me you love them because tomorrow's never promised. You never know what's going to happen. So just let them know that you care. And let's leave it at that. So Super Gamer Dudes is on. Go over there. And for everyone, till next Friday, let's make it. We have to make it. Game on until then, my friends.
Am I supposed to say I love you back?
It would be nice.
I love you, man. Okay, damn, that was awkward. Good night, guys.
Game on. Sit, Blue, sit. Good dog.